Today's episode, I want to share with you my most played CDs. It was very hard to narrow it down. A lot of these are originally purchased in the era that they were released. They have been with me through it all. I'm gonna share with you some personal stories as well. Okay, so number 10, this is Matchbox 20. My first CD I ever bought. This isn't the original first CD I bought because I don't know what happened to the first one. It is lost somewhere in Monica land, I don't know. But I purchased this at a Goodwill and I'm like, you know what, I need Matchbox 20 back. I love putting this on. It just gets me ready for my trip, wherever I'm going, real world, long day, 3 a.m. And I usually listen to the first 3 songs. Okay, so number 9, it is Killers live from Royal Albert Hall. I got this one at Aniba in LA for $14, quite a bit, right? But back then, CDs were still a lot of money, about $20, so this was a deal for me. I love this album. It has changed my life so much because it has a live version of a concert. And I fell in love with directing. I fell in love with camera shots and lighting and all. This was the genesis of that desire to one day be a director for live music. Some of my favorite songs is This Is Your Life. And that song helped me through those dark, depressing days of Monday morning, like driving to work. And it always made me hopeful that this isn't forever. Whatever job I was at and I didn't like, it wasn't forever. This is the beginning of something great. This is Smallville soundtrack. Now, I had the great opportunity to be an intern at Warner Brothers Studios in Burbank for like 9 months. It was a real dream come true. And I had the best time having access to Smallville. I could watch Smallville on my lunch break. The department I was working with, they gifted me a CD. And I listened to this on my way to Burbank. I got introduced to Remy Zero, Save Me, that is an opener. They also had Weezer on here, and that was like my first time really getting into Weezer. And then I found love with the Flaming Lips. Look how broken it is. Okay, next is Moby. I had a burnt copy of it for years. Finally, I found one at the Goodwill. I'm like, I need my own copy of Moby. This puts me in that creative mood of like creating and wanting to make something. And if I'm just in like a creative slump, I put this on. And it just drives me to write, to make something. And this is my favorite album of Moby. Next, Sigur Rós is kind of in that same family of instrumentals. Now, there was a season where I just felt so stuck at work. This was 2009. Everything kind of sucked around that time because people were getting laid off. Friends didn't have money. There's no money to really do anything, go anywhere. And so it was really boring at work. And I worked as a video editor, kind of promoting events. And so we had no more events to promote. So I was in a real creative slump and I put this on at work and it caused me to write. This album helps me. Sigur Rós is instrumental music from Icelandic, and it will just inspire you and move you. Okay, this is one of my first CDs. Now, there was a promotion that said buy 20 CDs for 1 cent. So I ordered the 20 CDs, but I was a kid. I didn't have a credit card. I didn't even have a cent, and I never sent my money in. They just gave it to me, I don't know. So it was a weird promotion, I don't get it. Maybe you guys remember that. It's a live version of Counting Crows music. I'm so used to this that I was gifted a Counting Crows album of like the studio version. I'm like, this is all wrong, this is all off, because it's engraved in my brain of Mr. Jones, the way it plays. And yeah, even during my purging days of getting rid of CDs, I wasn't gonna let this one go. Next, we have Romeo and Juliet soundtrack. Now, I enjoyed this movie, although some critics will say it's nonsense. I really enjoyed the movie, and the soundtrack is even better than the movie. I played this soundtrack so much, the whole mix. I favor soundtracks because I love listening to mixes that do sound like movies. They go up and down and conflict and hopeful. You know, all those emotions, they're all in here. And I got introduced to a lot of different bands. You have Garbage, Everclear. I love the Desiree song, Kissing You. That's such a romantic song. Loveful, Cranberries. That song will get stuck in your head. I talk show host Radiohead. First time listening to Radiohead. And look I love this album so much. I have 2 CDs because this is my original, but it skips. And this is one I found at the Goodwill. And I'm like, I'm gonna save it because my original one skips because I played it so much. So my camera stopped recording. Here we are, take 2. Hopefully this flows just as nicely. My energy's different, but that's okay. Okay, so 3 CDs to go. And these are really the most important CDs of my life. Okay, so number 3 is Garden State. Now, do you guys remember this movie? It was Zach Braff who was the director. He was a star from The Scrubs, and he made his own film. It has that indie vibe to it of like the depressed main character. Now, Natalie Portman reminds me of my best friend, Veronica. She's that bubbly girl that just like gets you out of being depressed. And for me, Veronica was like super key in my life to help me become who I am. She shared this album with me. She had the CD in her car. I just love the mix so much. There's Coldplay, The Shins. This was the first time I heard The Shins. 07, Carey Brothers, Nick Drake, who's like a classic. I have one of his records. Simon & Garfunkel, Iron and Wine, but I play this out. I must have played it for like a year straight. When I get obsessed with music, I can live with the CD for like a year and just play only this. Zach Braff is actually still a big music fan. If you follow him on Instagram, sometimes he'll share music, or he just like, he's up with the music trends, just like us. Now this one is special. Okay, so my friend Gio, he was monumental to my life. He was like the guy that introduced music to me. He introduced Third Eye Blind as well. So anyways, he one day said, this is gonna change your life. And so he sat me down and he put on the live DVD version of this. And I'm like, who is this? This is Hillsong United. And the song More Than Life like transformed my life, because I saw a group of young people loving God and serving God, and then also loving rock music. It was like a dream come true. I had never seen anything like this. And I asked him, I said, where are these people from? He said, Sydney, Australia. I'm like, what? My mind at like 19 or 20 was so little that I didn't even know people in Australia were westernized. I really didn't. And this cued me being obsessed with this band. I listened to this album a year straight. I was finishing up college and I really didn't know what to do. I had heard they had a Bible college. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go to their Bible college and be part of the church and help them with their videos. Like, that was my dream. I told my parents this and they're like, I don't know how you can afford this. And I'm like, don't worry, like God's gonna make a way. I was so young and naive that I believed God was gonna do this for me. And so I finish up college and I get called into the office and they said, oh, here's a grant. It's in your name, so you're welcome to pay off your student loans, or you could use the cash. It was $15,000. I went right away and I bought a ticket to Sydney and I paid my tuition. I paid for my passport, everything, living, everything. Like, I'm like, God, you really made a way for this to happen. It was amazing. And so I went to my parents and I told them, I said, I'm going to Sydney, Australia. Like, now that I'm a parent, I'm like, that must have really freaked them out because I didn't know anyone there. They didn't know anyone there. I flew to Sydney and I lived there for like almost 2 years. I met the most amazing people and I got a chance to do camera work. I got a chance to direct live. I got a chance to be a part of big music festival. My best friend is over there, Nick Koo. He's my mentor. He taught me how to edit and how to do After Effects. Even now, he has a YouTube channel where he teaches all that stuff. And this was way before they were famous. Now, Justin Bieber has kind of made them on the map. There's controversial issues with them. But it's funny because my favorite songwriter was Marty Sampson. In 2020, he did a live stream and basically said he's atheist. But I thought it was amazing that the songs that I gravitated towards and loved was written by an atheist who was calling onto God and wanting to believe God or wanting to have faith, and he was struggling. And those songs resonated with me, and only probably an atheist can write, really. This has made me who I am. I became a director, I became into video, I made videos for them. It all connects here. And when I was finished there, I went and I ended up working at a mega church, and they trusted me with the whole video department because I went to this school and I learned from them. Here's number 1. This is Coldplay, Parachutes. In context, I was 18, done with high school, just got broken up. I had this relationship that like consumed my life. Young love is so consuming. And so when that ended, I really didn't know what I wanted to do. My heart wanted to be a mom and I wanted to be a wife. And that's kind of where I ended up with my dream. But when the relationship was over, I'm like, I don't have a husband to have a baby with. So I kind of like had to, again, reconstruct who I was, and Coldplay helped that. So I loved rock music and I loved creativity and art, and this really helped me say, hey, if you want, like, you could make a CD cover. You could go to school and become a graphic designer and learn how to become a graphic designer. You can become a photographer and you can take pictures of bands. Like, this was my introduction to art and the world of what I do now. So it's just really interesting. All my favorite CDs and all my most played CDs have like always connected me to my destiny of what I needed to do. And when I had a baby and I became a stay-at-home mom, I didn't know what to do. I didn't have a plan, and I started making YouTube videos, and so here it is again. Music has always connected me to the next step. It's always like, okay, I don't know where to go, what's the next step? And so here I am on YouTube sharing my music and sharing my stories. Those are my top CDs. I know it was a little bit deeper than usual, but CDs and music has always been in connection with me, my faith, who I am, what I decided to do for a living. I mean, you saw that The Killers live DVD inspired me to be a live director, and I was able to do that. I was able to do graphic designing. I was able to do photography. Like, this was the introduction. CDs can have a real gift to you. It could allow you to see maybe potential and to dream and to see, hey, this is what is possible. You could be a designer, you can be a lighting director. Like, there's so many avenues. And so that's what I love about physical media, is it's tangible and it's real. Well, thank you guys for watching this YouTube episode. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you guys in the next one.